Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we're taking a deeper dive into our thoughts about Porsha's recent Instagram post prior to this most recent episode of Housewives of Atlanta.
Listen here. Since then, Porsha has deleted this post, but we caught it as everybody else caught it. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Blair, can you read the post for us, please?
Yes. I'm going to just say this. I'm watching new episode at Shamea Morton. Now, don't take it there. Don't imply ish about Diane Williams. I've been keeping it cute / quiet, and you can do and say what you want in me. That's what she said. But hear me when I say wrong road. Talking about, well, your mom thought my mom was a friend, knowing gosh darn well what she did to my mom was highly egregious. Don't do it. Keep playing victim. That BS. Don't F with my mom.
All right. Now, here's the thing about it. This was posted before the actual episode came out. Posted and deleted, that is, before the episode came out. And now we actually saw the episode. And I was like, oh, Shamea didn't really even say nothing that was so foul that really needed this post.
Yeah.
Right? Compared to what Diane said. And I'm not even trying to put 20 on 10 on what Diane said. I'm just saying, if there's anyone that spoke more on the other person, Diane said more about Shamea's character than what Shamea said about Diane's character. You get what I'm saying? So just off of this alone, I have a few questions about this, right?
All right.
One thing that she said in the post was that, first of all, let me add more context to it. Before this post, Porsha just wished Shamea a happy birthday. She did a happy birthday post for Shamea.
Yeah, people were thinking like, oh, see, they're good. They're fine. Exactly.
And now that this was posted after the fact and deleted, does this post kind of make you believe, or does it kind of make you go, this is kind of like pro wrestling, the whole Shamea and Porsha breakup, or like the thing that they're going through? Does it make you believe it more, or do you think it's like pro wrestling?
No, I believe it just because of the way that Shamea has been in all these interviews breaking down and stuff like that. Like, I think that there really is a fracture in their friendship.
Okay.
So I don't think it's fake.
Okay.
And I also feel like Porsha wishing Shamea happy birthday and all that type of stuff. Porsha has said from herself, when she was in a relationship with Simon, she would post things while they were going through terrible times, I guess, to make it look like they were good. So I'm like, this is Porsha's MO. Like, I don't expect anything different.
Oh, so okay. So see, look, I'm learning.
Yeah.
So basically, you saying that if any post was fake, it would have been probably more
the birthday post,
the happy birthday post, more than the actual this, right?
Yes.
Now, I have a question. When it came down to that post, Porsha says something across the lines of, "Hey, the whole falling out," I'm paraphrasing, between my mom and your mom. Hey, your mom was the one who did something egregious to my mom, right? Do we know? Do you know any backstory about what Shamea mom did?
But I want to say this.
Okay.
Porsha made a comment in the season about how Drew talked about her daughter, and she said it to a couple of people, basically to try to get people riled up that Drew was talking about my child, when Drew actually said that that college could get paid for. Porsha also said that Drew was trying to F Dennis, and Dennis told me that that's what she was trying to do. In the scene, Dennis said, I never said that. That text you're pulling up is totally out of context. That's not receipts, exactly what happened. And so that's why when I saw that, I did not think that Shamea did anything, or there could have been anything egregious happening on the episode, because we see what Porsha does.
Yeah.
She misconstrues information to try to get people on her bandwagon. Yeah. And when it's revealed, it was never that deep to begin with.
Yeah. And that's what I'm leaning to, because the egregious part that Porsha was alluding to in the post was that Shamea's mom did something egregious to Diane, and that's why they're not friends.
And my thing is, we will never know. Shamea didn't even want to touch on what was done.
It's
just that there was a fallout between the friendship, and that's all that anybody needs to know.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just playing DA. Hey, you don't want to talk about it because your mother was in the wrong, or your mother's in the right. Now, here's the thing about it. I do agree that, hey, those are two adults at that, the same way as me and Porsha are two adults. I don't have to talk about their falling out and things of that nature.
Right, that's their business.
And we don't have to let their falling out be our falling out. Right? But I will say this, though. Depending on what the reason of the falling out was, and truth be told, Miss Diane do not have the best reputation when it comes to telling the truth herself, too. You get what I'm saying? She over here talking about the apple doesn't fall far from the tree pertaining to Shamea. I'm looking at another tree in Porsha. You get what I'm saying? And another big apple. You know what I mean? I would say that depending on what it is, depending on the reason of the falling out between the mothers, that can affect how you view not only the people, the wrong party, but also the children. So that's why I'm like, I really want to know what was the egregious part. Hopefully, but based on the receipts that Blair has given us, Porsha is a pump faker. Right? She could say these things to basically paint a picture of not only Shamea, but of her mother, even though Shamea haven't said anything egregious about Miss Diane and things of that nature. And now my whole thing is, why delete it? Now it's giving pro wrestling to me. Excuse me. It's giving pro wrestling to me. Did you do this post to try to bring eyes to the episode so that like everybody could be like, oh, what did she say? Because my thing is, don't y'all got each other numbers? Like why are you such a public friend now to Shamea, or you're only a public friend rather, to where Shamea even in this past episode said, I want the friend that's off camera. But it seems like even the whole falling out, even in the episodes and things of that nature, you're trying to put things on Front Street in front of the camera where Shamea's like, this is not even the real you. So I'm just very interested in, do y'all believe? Blair doesn't think that Shamea is in the whole, we are orchestrating this story about our falling out and things of that nature. But do y'all believe that maybe Shamea is in on it? Maybe this is a little pro wrestling. Maybe this is a little, hey, there's drama there, but we go play it up for the camera because, you know, she ain't got no story. Talk about Porsha. And, you know, you're my friend. You're supposed to help me out, you know? I don't think it's 100% pro wrestling, but I do think there is some pro wrestling to it. I 100% think there's some pro wrestling to it, and not even based off of Porsha. What made me think about it being some pro wrestling to it was Shamea actually during the after show, the most recent one, where she was talking about Porsha and she had to get up and walked off. I thought that was a little too much. The reason why and granted, I never had a falling out with a best friend, and as a guy, I would not react that way. So I'm giving y'all the my perspective. I just feel like the whole walking away, the whole dramatics of it, especially if you're in the right, I really don't get how you feel, what you feel for Porsha, when you have all the evidence in the world to show that Porsha was never really a great friend to you or a great best friend for you.
Well, I'll put it like this.
Help me.
I think that sometimes people can understand it better in a romantic sense, to where you could have been in a relationship, that person did you dirty, and you guys break up, but you are still hurt from the fact that this happened, that you're no longer with this person, you don't get to talk to them every day, and the relationship can never be what it was before. And I think in a romantic sense, people get like, yeah, breakups are hard. Like, you know, even though the person like was a dog to you, there is going to be a period of time where you recover. Some people cry, some people, you know, go out and start getting into vices to try to, you know, cope with those feelings. And I feel like for some people, friendship breakups are just as heavy, if not worse, because you've actually done life with this person for decades, you know? And I think that the love that Shamea has for Porsha and Porsha has for Shamea is real, but I think that the pain and the dramatics of it just come from the fact that, like, I really love and care for this person, and why are they acting this way? Like, why can't we be how we were, you know?
Yeah, and maybe I'm speaking just from a point of view that is very limited when it comes to like male best friendships and things like that. But do
you see it from the romantic sense?
In a way, I'm learning from what you just said, because objectively or subjectively, I don't know.
But I mean, you have a lot of like, not a lot, but you have female friends, siblings and sisters and you know, people that you know. And have you seen how bad they've taken a breakup, even though the dude dogged them out?
But we're talking, but I 100% agree from the relationship point of view. But
you don't get it as far as
my whole thing is, y'all are not in a relationship in that way, right? I understand that there's ties, there may be sister ties, and maybe my whole thing is this. Maybe I'm just viewing it from the perspective of this. I can understand why Shamea can be hurt, but I'm like, hey, where does anger come in at? Because you have been, there's a difference between we falling out and I don't know why we falling out. We just mad or like we're not talking and I miss my friend. Yeah. I can get it from there. Where does anger lie in the whole mistreatment? Because the reason why y'all falling out is because you feel mistreated.
But I think that anger doesn't have to look one way. Anger can be frustration.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think that sometimes with frustration, even anger, people cry when they're angry.
Some people do.
And, you know, I think that with frustration, it can be a ball of emotions. If we think about the scene where she was in the studio with her sister and her friends and talking about picking out the song or her single, and she was pretty much sad that Porsha wasn't there, but you could tell she was mad too because she was saying like, yeah, like it's hard being friends with her. Like it's a lot. Like it's this, it's that. So I think that it's all those things. Man, I don't think it has to be one or the other. At the
same time, you are 100% right. But at the same time, man, we are your actual blood sisters.
Yeah.
Like she I think if not both of them, one of them was her sister. She was in the studio and you over here talking about I wish so and so was here. Well, who am I?
And that's how, and the thing is, I've had to grow into that. I feel like when I was younger and there were certain people who didn't show up or weren't there or weren't consistent, I would, you know, still be having a good time, but still in the back of my head be like, dang, like I wish this person would have showed up. Like I wish, you know, they would put more effort into the relationship. But I feel like as you get older or mature, or maybe it just depends on your relationship with that person and things change. I just feel like you start to just appreciate the people who are there. Yeah. And you really put your time, focus, and attention on the people who do show up the way that you want them to. And I think that Shamea is getting to that point with Porsha. I think that when it comes to Porsha, she gives her a lot of leeway and exceptions. So I don't know how she is in any of her other relationships, but it seems like Porsha has like the most leeway to get away with things when it comes to Shamea. And to me, when we were talking about one of the Watch What Happens Lives, she was saying to Andy that I'm done. Like, actually, I'm done with the relationship. Until I see some reciprocation, this is where I have to make a hard stop, you know?
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, right? When it comes to, and maybe it is maturity, maybe it's even unhealthy. Maybe I would even label it unhealthy. I think it's a tad bit unhealthy to view a platonic relationship, even friendship, right? And treat it as if it was a relational, non-platonic breakup. Like, I can see how you are comparing it to, hey, you know, let's say if me and you was to break up, I'd probably be hollering and you probably be feeling some type of way. But, hey, at the end of the day, you and Porsha, Shamea, was not dating, right? So the whole, like, walking off, storming off, these little dramatics that comes off to me, and maybe female relationships are much deeper and it feel more feels, right? But I just feel like, hey, there has to come a point in the maturity of the friendship that, hey, did you accept Porsha for who Porsha was? Porsha has been consistent this whole time.
Before you go on to that, I just want to say that I think that sometimes in relationships with women, you get to a certain point to where you feel like men can come and go. But your friends are the ones who've been there and done life with you. So even if you go through a bad breakup with a partner, that's something that after you've done it a couple of times, you might be able to bounce back from. But from a friendship of somebody who has literally done life with you, like, that's going to be hard.
And guess what?
But go ahead.
I will say I actually see that perspective. Because to me, I would say this kind of codependency. But I will say, it's getting kind of weird of like, I can see the codependency. Because it's like, is it a breakup or is it just a friendship over? And granted, all of my close friends that I've been friends with since I was a kid, I'm still friends with. And anyone that I'm not friends with that we may have been downgraded to associates, that's only because of proximity. We're not around each other. But if we get around each other, it wouldn't be like we're not friends, you know? I will say this too, right? Porsha has been consistent throughout the friendship from the beginning of what we knew, right?
Of how she's shown up.
How she's shown up, right? I'm not giving Porsha any bail of, hey, you don't need to be a better friend. You don't need to be a better person to your friend because you've been the same, right? But I will say this, though, and I'm going to keep asking it continuously. Why now, Shamea? Guess what? I understand. We joke around saying, hey, y'all laughed at Porsha sleeping with Charles, and now Andrew said, I'm going to take y'all friendship, and I'm going to put it on Front Street, right? But at the end of the day, there's nothing the truth of the matter is an off-camera conversation was brought on camera
by Angela,
right? And she kind of forced your hand to rather defend or not defend the friendship that you have with your sister.
Well, and the reason that I feel like you're missing a link to the chain there is because Shamea felt the shift in Porsha. When it came to the Pamper by Porsha event, Porsha wasn't talking to her. She wasn't trying to lay beside her. She was really giving her the cold shoulder. And I think that affected Shamea to the point where she couldn't just say, oh, like, yeah, we're cool. We don't have an issue. Like, you know, y'all need to stay out of our business. Yes. I think it was a domino effect to, oh, somebody told you something and now you're treating me different. Yeah. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
You know? And then it was just like, well, now we have to talk because we're not going to be good unless we have a conversation.
And even though I am missing that link, the same link is Angela. Because at the end of the day,
but you keep saying why, and I'm just saying it was a domino effect.
But it don't have to be a domino effect, though. Is what I'm saying.
I'm saying it had to because Porsha changed. She couldn't continue on like everything was fine when Porsha is not playing her role.
Has Porsha ever initiated a conversation that we see on camera that take accountability for anything?
No.
So I will suggest, based on what I've seen, that hey, even when there is falling outs in a relationship, that Shamea initiates the conversation. Shamea felt that shift, right? So when there's a shift and things like that.
So was she supposed to act like there's no shift?
No, I expect Shamea to do what Shamea always done. And that's the one that be like, hey, girl, everything's good between us. My thing is, hey, if you felt a shift, right, to where whatever you felt like, hey, Angela said this to you, whatever I had the conversation with Angela off camera.
Can I say what's different there?
Go ahead.
So Shamea can say to Porsha, hey, girl, everything's good when her feelings are hurt.
When Shamea's
feelings are hurt. When Porsha does something to her, she can say, I will brush my feelings under the rug in order for us to continue our friendship. But she can't go to Porsha and say we're good when Porsha is the one who is acting weird.
Listen to what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm not even saying that I don't see what you're saying. I'm saying based off the little evidence that we got off of their friendship throughout the years, not only this season, throughout the years, it came off. Even Shamea would come on camera and say, we had a talk and we're past that. And we now see the definition of what Shamea means when like
they have their talk.
It's not a talk. It's nothing deep. Nothing gets solved. They just basically just look at each other and things like that. So I can tell just by off of their friendship, Shamea is probably the one that probably just be like, you know what? In order for us to get past this, I have to get past it. Right? Not no Porsha have to get past it. So my thing is, hey, you have done that throughout the whole friendship. Why can't you do it now? Right? And the only reason why I'm pointing to this moment now is that this moment was brought up by Angela. Meaning that an outsider came in to y'all sisterhood, even though it may be fair or unfair, and y'all allow her to basically motivate y'all to talk, to basically say, hey, y'all need to talk about your friendship and talk about this thing. Shamea, throughout the friendship, you have covered Porsha's sins throughout the whole time. Why now to the point where you now like, you know what, I don't want to do it no more because Angela brought it up? That's why I'm like, let me give you a perfect example. And I don't even know if it's perfect, right? I have a best friend, like a real best friend, right? And he doesn't answer the phone. He never answers the phone.
But he's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He is a really great guy.
Right? He never answered the phone. He's not my EC. Right? He is not my emergency contact. But he doesn't answer the phone. He doesn't respond back to text messages on time. All the above, right? It will be weird of me to come to him now because Blair comes to me and say, you know what? You don't like when he don't answer the phone, do you? I'll be like, man, this Negro been the same person for 32 years. You get what I'm saying? It will be weird for me to bring up, hey, you know what? You're not answering the phone. And I have a problem with that. When I have basically accepted the fact that this is who you are. And and guess what? These are the rules that I will play by in our best friendship. And guess what? It is what it is.
And that's not a perfect example.
Oh, it's not perfect?
No.
I thought it was perfect. Why is it not perfect?
Because that would have been equivalent to Angela going to Shamea and saying, you need to talk to Porsha. You need to be honest about how you feel. You need to do this, and that. That would have been the equivalent of your example.
Okay.
What Angela did is gotten Portia's ear so that way Porsha changed how she navigated with Shamea. Okay. So now Shamea is on the outs.
Oh, okay.
So it's not so much of Shamea, bring this up, and now I'm in your ear about you speaking up. No, it's the fact of my friend Porsha is acting weird towards me, and people are saying to her that I've said certain things, but now I have to set the record straight.
Yeah, okay.
Because people are in her ear.
Matter of fact, it wasn't a perfect one. But it was imperfectly perfect. Okay.
I was like,
but
no.
But I will say this though. Then I gotta give Shamea some bail out of jail for this one. Then
okay.
In that scenario and what happened, then Porsha should have been the one to basically like. My thing
shut
is
it down. That's why Shamea was mad.
And my thing is this, right? And granted, I understand that you're mad that Porsha didn't shut it down, but at the same time, you was the one that was talking and like expressing your heart, Shamea.
But my thing is, even when it comes to that, like I know that they're talking about Shamea said pinky promise and all this type of things, and she might have gotten comfortable to share some information. Yeah. But I don't think it's wrong for her to share her experience. The way that the way that it was conveyed to me, and even seeing how the ladies do approach Shamea about Porsha, to the fact where Kelly's asking Shamea why that woman take that lady's husband, you know, it's like people are probably bombarding Shamea with their questions and thoughts and concerns about Porsha, and she doesn't always have to just say, don't ask me about Porsha. She can say, yeah, why not? It looks crazy. No. I'm saying that she has the right to express what she feels, because I think that she does express to Porsha what she feels.
That was not perfect.
Okay.
The reason why
my thing is, like, I don't think she's doing it in a gossipy way. I think she's saying, like, I hear what you're saying. I see what you saw.
I understand
it was hurtful, but we are good.
At the end of the day, right? Porsha, to your point, to my perfect scenario that I was wrong in. Imperfect, perfect, right? You try to trick me, right? Porsha should have been the one to shut it down, in the sense of, you can't tell me nothing about my best friend. I need to hear it from my best friend.
Exactly.
At the same time, Shamea, if you really secretly was still mad about the wedding thing, why are you blabbering it to other people? My thing is, both of y'all, like, what's the point of y'all being the sisterhood? And that's the thing about it. As much as I would want my best friend to answer the phone and respond back to things at an appropriate time, that doesn't mean that I won't take a life for him. Like that's my brother. You get what I'm saying? And I accepted his flaws. The same as I'm sure I got flaws, very, very small flaws. You get what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, I accept my friend's flaws. I accept my wife's flaws. My wife accept my flaws and things like that. There's nothing that you can tell me to get any information about my marriage to any stranger. Shamea don't know Angela from nobody. So I don't even understand why. And here, I'm not blaming. I'm just trying to show different areas. If you really felt some type of way about it and you're holding on to it, why are you telling Shamea? Why are you giving that type of ammunition to Angela and things like that? And my thing is, if it was somebody else, I could understand it. If it was like, you know how like some best friendships can be like friend circles to where it's like a group of y'all.
Yeah.
If she was talking amongst the group or to somebody else who was in the group, and that's when that person brought it to them, Angela just got done fussing at Porsha, talking about, you try to sleep with my man.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, of course, it's Angela's strategic plan to break up y'all friendship and things like that.
Well done, Angela. Well
Perfectly done, actually, right?
You deserve first chair.
Yes,
man.
You will get first chair. I want her to have a throne.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? I want her to have a throne. But at the end of the day, it seemed like, hey, the fortress or even the city walls of y'all friendship was already crumbling down from the beginning.
Oh, for sure.
As if y'all wanted to basically talk or basically have an excuse to talk to somebody about y'all friendship. And I'm like, Shamea, you shouldn't have talked to Angela about it. Porsha, you should have defended the friendship to Angela. That would have been the one time in whole Real Housewives of Atlanta history that you would have defended Shamea in something.
Right.
You can't even acknowledge the woman's voice when she's singing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So my whole thing is, there's no one to blame of where y'all are. There's no one to blame of why y'all was forced to talk about it on camera, except for y'all two, because off camera and on camera, y'all didn't do a good job of being a united front. You can't tell me nothing about Porsha.
Yeah.
You can't tell me nothing about Shamea. And I'm like, what's the point of y'all calling each other sisters then? You can't. That's why I'm like, let's stop throwing these titles out. Just because y'all knew each other since, and y'all probably was forced to be friends since y'all was kids because y'all parents were friends and things like that. But y'all not really sisters. And I'm like, Shamea, start running off camera. And granted, this was already filmed, and I'm sure she's better now. Don't run off camera because you hurt because Shamea, because Porsha has been showing up the same throughout your whole friendship. This ain't nothing new to you.
Yeah.
This new to me. I'm not used to this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anything else you had to, anything you have to add to this conversation?
No, nothing really.
Yeah.
I mean, I do understand that. Look, if you accept your friend, you accept them. But I think that when it gets to a point where something is a character flaw, then you have to reevaluate if you really want to keep the friendship. And I think Shamea was willing to keep the friendship with a huge character flaw of, you know, the lying, the misrepresenting, the, you know, all that type of stuff. And, you know, she was fine with it. But when it, you know, turns to her, which she has been the butt of, you know, how Porsha's character can be a lot of the times. She just tries to suck it up and keep it pushing so she can keep the friendship. And I know Angela talked about maybe she did it so that way she could secure a peach on the show, but Porsha didn't even push her for her to get on the show. It was Candy who did.
And maybe
so. The thing is, like, I think that Shamea knew who her friend was and she was willing to accept it, but it does get to a point where you're just kind of like, I don't know if I can continue on like this.
Here's the thing,
and I think it was more so the point that she didn't know if she could continue on like this because Porsha stopped picking up the phone. If Porsha would have picked up the phone and they would have had one of their talks again, Shamea probably would have been right back in that cycle, but Porsha stopped taking her calls.
Here's the thing so
now she's forced to sit down and think.
The reason why I'm not giving Shamea all the bail out of jail, she get a little bit but not all. Here's the thing. Not only did she accept how the friendship was, she played into it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Sitting on that woman's lap, right, as another grown adult.
Yeah, you think that is crazy.
That's not cool. Listen here. I do not believe that everyone is equal in a friendship. There is a leader. There is, you know, people that is... You know, I mean, like, okay, we got to watch after this one. You know, this is our little brother. This is our little sister. We got to make sure we keep an eye on them. They're not really going to make the best decisions. But guess what? We love this person to death. We would die for them, right? So the whole idea that you didn't just accept, you played into it, right? And hope that, oh, you know what? It's all fun and games. There's nothing fun and games about you sitting on another woman's lap and acting like a dog because you're being called lap dog. Like there's nothing to it. And Porsha, guess what? She's laughing about it. And the thing about it is, and I'm just taking the conversation to another place, and it's not really a conversation, it's just something that I observe with Porsha, right? As much as Porsha believes that she is the star and she is made to be first place, Porsha's life, she has continuously been bumped into second or third place in every situation that she was supposed to be first place in. When Porsha got her first show by herself with her family and things like that, it was a crazy show, but that's when people fell in love with Dennis. Mind you, this is the same Dennis that everybody at one point hated because of how he treated Porsha while she was pregnant and things of that nature.
Yeah, he cheated while she was pregnant.
So you made someone that we already didn't love, lovable.
He's actually a cool guy.
And you were already in first place because that's your show.
Yeah.
And now people watching the show because they want to see the chemistry that y'all got because they like seeing Dennis on camera, right? Now, I think she have this fear as she, I don't know what it is about her, this lack of self-esteem or just confidence that, hey, I don't want to bring my best friend on because she been on Housewives and things like that. I'm not gonna bring my best friend on because you ain't gonna bump me out of my place and things like that. And when Shamea first came on, one thing that I said was, oh, this ain't the Porsha Housewives of Atlanta season 16. This look like it's gonna be the Shamea Housewives
she
of
was
Atlanta.
Presented as the anchor.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, now it's to the point where now you're not even gonna be in first place because you're getting bumped out by Shamea, you're getting bumped out by Angela now. Now people are saying, build the show around Charles and Angela. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, I think Porsha is getting tired of being in a position to where she is being bumped into something outside of first place. So be ready for Porsha to create these narratives to put some smut on Shamea's name. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It may even come out during the reunion of what allegedly Shamea mom did to Miss Diane and things like that.
Yeah.
And they go try to twist the knife. But I would say this, if y'all was truly real friends and real sisters and things of that nature, y'all wouldn't let no outside force talk to neither of y'all about each other.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Porsha. I think that since she can't control what we see, she's going to try to control the minds of the people who can be manipulated.
She almost got me.
So don't be manipulated, y'all.
I ain't gonna lie. She almost got me. Anything else?
That's it.
Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know if y'all like my imperfect, perfect example. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty good. We see y'all.
Bye.